Hi, everybody. I'm Charlene Reinhardt. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Make sure you click on the subscribe button and press the notification bell so that you can receive updates when I post a new video. In this video, I'm going to talk about how much money do you need to get started on your dividend investing journey? I receive that question all the time. So I want to break down those myths and encourage you to get started on your dividend investing journey. But before I go into all of that, I have a confession to make. I am extremely tired right now. I'm so exhausted. I was really at war with myself trying to figure out if I should do a video right now. So I'm just coming in. It is February 10th after 11 p.m. and I have to get up early in the morning. So the majority of me is saying, go to sleep, don't do it. But then there's part of me that's saying, you know what? You made a commitment to be consistent. You said that you would show up every week and share what you have to share so that people can get a piece of the information that they need right now. And you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm not going to edit this video because I'm super tired right now and I want to get it out. I want to stay committed to it. I'm just going to share freely from my personal experiences and anything else that comes up. If you're cool with that, type cool in the chat. I'm sure you have had commitments as well. And there were days when you were just exhausted. You didn't want to go through with it. And sometimes you just have to keep asking yourself, what are you willing to do to get where you want? Or what are you willing to do to help those people who need you on your journey? Right? So you always have to think about your why. But now that we got that now that we have that out the way, let's start talking about how much money do you need to get started on your dividend investing journey. Now, 3 seconds ago, I mentioned I had to be consistent. I made a commitment to be consistent. What if that was all you needed to get started on your dividend journey? I know you may see stocks out here that are close to $500, right? Because Facebook is now paying a dividend. They will pay their first ever dividend in March. If you did not see that video where I talked about Facebook's announcement that they were going to pay their first ever dividend, check that out, because you also saw that the price of Facebook jumped from $300 something to over $400 after that announcement was made. And it was tinkering around that number for some time, maybe that week, and it just reached, I'm not sure the exact date, but the following day after that announcement, Facebook stock really shot up over 15%. So take a look at that video. And I brought that up because you might be looking at Facebook saying, whoa, I wanted Facebook stock, but it's $460. How can I afford Facebook stock? Well, I can always tell you, hey, there are fractional shares. You don't have to buy the whole share. You can buy a piece of the share. So if you only have $10, you can buy a fractional share with your $10. And you can keep adding on every week until you have a whole share of Facebook. But there are other companies that you can buy for less than $100. Realty Income, which is known as the monthly dividend company. That's a popular REIT, real estate investment stock, that you can buy for less than $100. No, I'm not saying go out and buy the stock for $100. I'm telling you that you have options no matter where you are on your journey. You can also buy an ETF, exchange traded funds, and the cost of those funds will vary depending on the type of fund you buy, just like the cost of stocks will vary depending on the type of company, the brand that you buy. So do your research, look at the financials. Yes, I said look at the financials. Let me talk about that right quick, because a lot of people really just want to get in, invest, and take advantage of capital appreciation, which is when your stock goes from one price to a higher price. So if you buy a stock, if you buy a company for $10 and 2 years later you see your company stock is at $100, you have a $90 unrealized gain. It's unrealized because you haven't sold the stock yet. When you sell the stock, it's realized. You take the profits, you pay the taxes if you have those investments in a taxable brokerage account. So that's capital appreciation. And a lot of people are looking at that when they buy stocks, right? But that's not the only benefit of investing. Sometimes you can earn an extra stream of income from your investments. And I talk about all that all the time. Those are dividends. Some companies are dividend paying companies, just like Facebook decided to become a dividend paying company. The company went public in, I believe, 2012. And 12 years later, they decided to pay investors money in the form of dividends. They are returning cash back to investors in the form of dividends. That's what Facebook is doing. That's what Microsoft has been doing, and Apple has been doing that as well. So you see more tech companies getting comfortable paying dividends. But let's go back to the original question. How much money do you need to get started? I said you have to have a commitment to consistency. And I started mentioning all these stocks that you can buy. There are stocks that are around $400, but there are also stocks that are under $100. It doesn't matter the price of these stocks right now. Let's take that out the equation. Let's talk about you, what you need to do on this journey to get started. What you need to do is actually get started, right? What are you going to commit to on this dividend investing journey? With dividends, you are essentially buying an extra stream of income. So how much money are you going to allocate every week out of every paycheck or every month towards your dividend investing goals? Maybe you can have $25 automatically transferred from your checking account to your brokerage account. Your brokerage account is your investment account that you're going to use to pay for your dividend paying assets and to actually buy, to trade those investments that you want. So what are you going to do? How much are you going to commit to? So you have to look at your finances, right? Look at your finances. How much income do you have coming in? How much income do you have going out? That's going to determine how much you have left over to dedicate to your dividend investing goals. You have to get started. That's the main point of this video. Get started, get started, get started. If you put away $10 every month for the next 12 months, you'll have $120. If you put away $100 every month for the next 12 months, you'll have $1,200. If you put away $1,000 every month for the next 12 months, you'll have $12,000. So what is your goal? How big do you want your dividend portfolio to be? Where do you want to start? Right? When you're thinking about starting, do what feels comfortable for you. And you also don't just want to throw your money at different stocks or ETFs or whatever investments that you are thinking about adding to your portfolio. You want to do your research, right? You want to have companies in your portfolio that have some sort of competitive advantage or that you believe are going to be here for a certain period of time. Maybe 10 years, 20 years, right? Because if you know your company is strong enough to produce sustainable revenues over the long term, you don't have to stalk the stock market every day to see if the stock is going down, to see if another company is coming over and taking over market share, right? If you have a strong company with a good foundation, they are able to produce reliable returns over a period of time. So look at the companies, compare all the companies out there in a certain industry. Look at the companies that you actually buy items from every day. A lot of people use Procter & Gamble products or Colgate-Palmolive or social media products. Just because these are good products now don't mean they have what it takes to be good products next year or even 5 years from now. So you want to do your research. You want to look at the source of the revenues that the companies are getting before you invest your money. But let's start with you. How much money do you need to get started? Guess what? You can start with $10. But you don't have to stop there. The more consistent you are, the quicker you will be able to achieve your goals. So consistency is key. Dividend investing is more about discipline, goal setting, and education instead of how much money you have in your account right now. Don't think about that. Start where you are and be willing to grow on this journey. That's what it's all about. When I started my journey, I started in college, and I did not buy dividend investing. I did not buy dividend paying assets. I had no idea what dividend paying assets were. I was just focused on capital appreciation. I was trying to buy something at a cheap price, hoping that it would go up in value, and that did not happen. I made the biggest mistake that I probably could have made, but oh well, it happened. Lesson learned. What did I learn from that? Well, I learned what type of investor I wanted to be. I learned that I needed to do my research instead of looking at my eyeballs, instead of using my eyeballs to determine which stocks I wanted to invest in. And so because of my mistakes, I became a more diligent investor, right? I became more in tune with the companies that I wanted to buy. I started doing my research. I started doing fundamental analysis so that I can break down the financials, all of those metrics that are important when trying to understand a company better. You're building a relationship with the company. So you need to understand this company better because you want to make sure that you make the most of your money. And you can only do that by doing your research. I'm not saying research will guarantee that you picked the perfect stock, but it will give you a better idea of what you're getting into. So I started investing in college, did everything wrong. And then when I started working, I really didn't do any independent investing. I was just investing in my company's 401k and employee stock option plan. When I left my job in financial services, I realized that those investments in my employer's stock option plan pay dividends. So now I get dividends every quarter from my old job, and I don't even work there anymore. So that's one option. I didn't have to use my money out my pocket. My money came directly out my paycheck before it hit my account to pay for stocks in the company that I was working for. So that's an option if you are a part of an employee stock option plan and you believe that you are working for a company that has some sort of competitive advantage and could produce sustainable profits or revenues over the long term. So that's something to look at. But then when I left my job, I didn't have a full-time job. So how did I get started? Well, I started where I was at. I started with a $20 bill that I had. I went back to my accounts that I had abandoned and I put $20 in and I started from scratch. I learned what I needed to learn in order to execute a trade. I started paying attention to dividend paying assets since I was getting dividends from my former company, but I started to reinvest those dividends as well, because when you reinvest the dividends, your dividends start producing more dividends, right? So I started with my $20, and then I decided to put my dividend investing on autopilot. Every week I would have $10 because that's all I could afford at that time. I didn't have a full-time job. So I would have $10 coming out of my account every week. And when I was ready to buy assets with the money in my account, I would execute a trade. But until then, I would just keep allowing my money to keep building up. And then if extra money came my way, I would put it towards my brokerage account so that I can buy more assets. And that's how I started. As I was able to grow in my journey, as I was able to get paid from writing and speaking and all the other things that I was doing for free, then I was able to build my dividend portfolio up faster. But the value of what I did was I committed to consistency. I committed to learning While I had $20, I was learning about those companies. I started reading their financial statements, going to their 10Ks and annual reports to learn more about their financial results. I started to build a relationship with these companies. And so when I got extra money to allocate towards my dividend investing portfolios, I knew which companies I wanted to add more dollars to. Microsoft was one of those companies that I was studying. I was fascinated by what the CEO was saying and the technology that they were using. And now look at Microsoft. I used to talk about Microsoft all the time in my dividend investor program. And now Microsoft is, I believe it's definitely a $2 trillion company, but it's one of the most powerful companies in the world right now, right? So do your research while you are building your money. There's always something you can do. And don't be afraid of missing out. When it comes to dividends, there are always opportunities around you. When I was in college, I used to say, I wish I would have invested in Apple because so many people were brand loyal. But guess what? When I was in college, there were also other opportunities. Even after college, 10 or 20 years later, there were opportunities. Microsoft was an opportunity. When I was looking at Microsoft and doing my research, it was around $105. Right now, it's over $400. So there are always opportunities. There are opportunities right now. So don't think you're too late. There's always an opportunity. It's just up to you to determine, when are you going to get started? When are you going to, one, look at your finances, look at how much money you have coming in, how much you're going out, and think about how much you can start investing towards your dividend goals. Then two, set up your brokerage account. Make sure that you are creating an automatic transfer from your checking account to your brokerage account so that your hands are out of the process. You don't have to think about that. Your account is just building up automatically. Three, do your research. Look at different ETFs, individual stocks, and all the other type of assets that you want to add to your portfolio. See if they are dividend paying stocks, and then create a strategy. Number four, create a strategy. Think about this. What goal do you want to achieve? Do you want to get your first $100 in dividend income? Well, how many shares of the companies or ETFs you are looking at do you need in order to get your first $100? Then you move up to 1,000. Then you move up to 10,000. It's all about hitting those milestones. But guess what? You just had to get started. So if you want to get started, check out my guide to dividend investing. My book is on Amazon. Dividends Are a Queen's Best Friend. I also have tutorials available to show you how to open a brokerage account. I'm showing you what blue chip companies are, how to find a company's annual report, and so many other things. So look at the videos on this channel. I have a playlist to help you get started on your dividend investing journey. Well, thanks for joining me. I think it's time for me to go to sleep now. So I'm so happy that you joined. If you took something away from this video, type what you took away in the chat. Let me know, and I'll continue to do videos around dividend investing and my journey. All right, have a good one.